When Gwendolyn has invited us over to her engagement party, the morning of, one of my other kids just tells me, hey, Dad, Mom's new boyfriend's going to be there. I'm like, oh, yeah, Robyn and I are going over to Gwendolyn's bridal shower.
We found out that Christine was bringing her boyfriend.
Before the show started, were they all living off of Janelle's inheritance? Let's take a look. In 2006, Janelle bought the Lehigh house, using $249,000 from an inheritance and a loan for $83,000. Seems like a pretty reasonable setup, right? Fast forward nearly 2 years, and she decides to add Kody's name to the deed. Cue the fun. To make this official, they transferred ownership from Janelle to both of them, and magically, the loan amount dropped to $50,000. I'm not buying that this was a refi of the original $83,000. There's no way that loan was paid down that quickly. Then, just 2 months later, they transfer the deed again, this time taking out a new loan for $417,000. If they paid off the previous loans, they likely got around $239,000 in cash. Look at that, a nice chunk of change to live off of, because clearly, that's how responsible people handle finances, right? 6 months after that, at the tail end of 2008, they decide to open up a HELOC for $45,000. By 2016, they sell the house. The buyer takes out a $300,000 loan, but who knows what the actual purchase price was. My guess is it was at least the total loan amount they'd racked up over the years. But here's the kicker. Janelle essentially sunk $250,000 into that house for the whole family to live in, only for them to pillage the equity as if it were some kind of income stream. By the time they sold it in 2016, they were already settled in the cul-de-sac homes in Vegas. And let's be honest, it's probably because they were upside down on the Lehigh house until then. If not, they would have sold it earlier and used that cash to help finance the Vegas move. So to recap, Janelle did a lot for the family's finances, basically keeping them afloat for 4 years. If she wants to buy an RV or a big truck, honestly, no one should say a word. She used money she could have easily kept hidden away where no one, especially Kody, would have found it. And after all that, Kody has the nerve to take the proceeds from her Vegas house for Robyn's mansion. I can practically hear Christine and Janelle exchanging those married couple vibes. They were probably the only ones who understood how much Janelle was really carrying this family. Meri and Kody might have chipped in, but Janelle was the one handling the big financial moves. It also makes me wonder if Robyn had heard the rumors about all this, and that's what sparked her lightning bolt moment. I'm sure it wasn't typical for a polygamist man to have that much money and multiple cars, even if those cars were uninsured and barely functional. For a family that was essentially living on the poverty line, they looked like they just won the lottery. Now, I can't help but wonder if it stings for those 3 women to look back on all this, connecting the dots of gaslighting, humiliation, and, oh yeah, millions of viewers watching it all play out. I truly wish them all the best as they start their new chapters. Everyone always calls Janelle the money-savvy one since she was the one doing the books. But given how much money this family has managed to burn through, I wouldn't be surprised if those books were just filled with crayon scribbles. I like Janelle overall, but let's not kid ourselves. Just because she's the only one who can do basic math doesn't mean she's great with money. Between her $401 inheritance and the profit from her Vegas house, they basically robbed her blind. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Kody decided to shut down the family business account and surprise, he apparently took all the money with him, according to the extended UK version of Sister Wives. So what do we think, folks? Is that where he got the down payment for his shiny new multi-million-dollar house? Because that makes total sense. But here's what really gets me. How on earth could he close an account that had all the wives' names on it? How does that even work? Remember when Kody and Robyn swore up and down to the OG3 that the family money was just sitting there in the bank, untouched and secure? Well, guess what? Apparently, that meant the OG3 wasn't even listed as account holders, meaning they couldn't sign off on anything. Janelle might have had the login info, but that didn't stop Kody from cleaning it out. Oh, and just to make things more fun, he and Robyn started a brand new LLC to buy their new house under, to protect themselves from any pesky lawsuits that might come their way. And the cherry on top? The US edit conveniently leaves all this out. Are they really trying to protect Kody's fragile little feelings? Or are they just hoping we won't notice? Because, spoiler alert, we noticed. The move to Flagstaff. How could anyone not see the genius plan unfolding? Watching season 13 again, it's honestly baffling how none of the wives figured out the obvious. They were completely fleeced out of their financial stability, especially with homes under their names in Vegas. And Kody? He was on a whole other level with the manipulation, particularly with Christine. The way he love-bombed her during their trip to Flagstaff. Honestly, it was just cringeworthy. I mean, come on, how could none of them put two and two together and realize this was all about Robyn? Because let's be real, Flagstaff wasn't some random dream destination. It was a strategic move for her. Someone posted a screenshot of a Facebook comment from someone who claimed to know the family, and apparently there were 3 big reasons for the move. First off, Dayton got into college, and Arizona offers cheaper/free tuition, which was a nice bonus for the kids. Second, the show's ratings were tanking, so Kody thought a move would help them stretch the show's lifespan by a season or 2. Oh, and let's not forget, there was a mass shooting in Vegas, which made Kody nervous about possible changes to gun laws that could impact his business. So Arizona's more relaxed regulations fit his needs perfectly. But here's the kicker. Kody wanted to collect the equity from all 4 homes and basically combine it into one big family pile. Makes total sense when you think about it. Meri and Janelle were renting, and Christine was the only one who was smart enough to buy her own place, keeping her chunk of the financial pie. Meanwhile, the rest of the family's assets, those 4 Vegas homes worth of equity, got funneled straight into Coyote Pass and Robyn's place. I've always thought that's why Robyn's home looks so lavish. It's not just to make it look fancy, it's a way of hiding money and creating the illusion that it's only Robyn and Kody's money, not the family's. Classic Kody moved to tighten his control, especially as he sensed some of the wives might be thinking of jumping ship. This scene with Christine and Kody, one of the most disturbing in the entire series. Kody straight up says, "I railroaded you, and I know I did, and I'm not sorry about it. Respect the whole family, and I'll love you." Wait, what? Are we really doing this right now? The assignment was simple. Build a rock tower about your relationship with Christine. But instead, Kody put on an Oscar-worthy performance, showing exactly why Christine was so frustrated. Honestly, if I were Christine, I would have hurled that heart-shaped rock at his noodle of a head. And let's talk about Nancy, the therapist, and I use that term loosely. She just sat there, letting Kody derail the assignment and gaslight Christine into doing whatever he wanted. Not a single word of guidance. What was even the point of her being there? A waste of time and a terrible therapist. Maybe no one could have saved that family, but she most definitely wasn't the one to do it. If you ask me, that was the moment their marriage was done. Christine stuck around for the kids and the paycheck, but once the kids, except Truly, were out of high school, she packed up and left. People love to say she moved on too fast, but honestly, it was more like molasses. And something tells me she probably knew David before they started dating. Does Meri actually live at the B&B? Because for some reason, I can't picture her in these big fancy houses with all her stuff, and then ending up in a tiny 1900s-styled B&B with actual guests staying there. Does the guest house renovation mean anything, or was that just for show? Honestly, I'm starting to think the B&B is closed for good, and Meri's using this time to remodel and update the place into her permanent residence. After all, she said that her dream has always been to get the Parowan house back, since it was built by a family member. It just so happened to be for sale as a B&B, so that's how she bought it. And with all the money she makes from her other businesses, she doesn't really need the B&B income to survive. So I'm really hoping she's turning this place into a real permanent home for her and Zona. One thing I respect about Meri is that when it comes to real work, she hires experts. Like with the carriage house remodel, she didn't just throw together some half-baked DIY project. Contrast that with Kody, who thinks it's a great idea to drag all the kids out for a weekend to slap a coat of paint on his mom's house. It's sweet that the kids pitched in, but I always wonder how well that paint job actually held up. I mean, they didn't exactly sand or prep the surfaces. It looked more like they gave each kid a brush and said, "Here, have at it." From what I gather, Meri's renovating the B&B to live in, while using the guest house for her business. She's talked about using the house for events, but who knows if that's still the plan. One thing's for sure, I don't think she's running a B&B anymore. Does Christine seriously have to remind us of the teams every single episode? I can't be the only one who finds it irritating how she constantly points out that she and Janelle are always going to be close. Janelle will always be my sister wife, while Kody, Robyn, and Robyn's kids go off and do their own thing, leaving Meri in the dust. Like, yes, we get it. There's a divide in the family, and it's painfully obvious on screen, but Christine can't help but gleefully bring it up every episode, as if we missed it the last 5 times she mentioned it. She can't just talk about what she and Janelle are doing. No, she has to make sure to highlight how the others aren't involved. It's almost like she gets a little too excited to remind us of the teams. Sue, my kids and Janelle's kids are doing XYZ because they're always gonna be close and always gonna do everything together. Plus, Janelle's always gonna be my sister wife. Robyn's family will do their thing, and honestly, who knows what Meri is doing. This recent episode, she's moving into her new home with her new husband, and there was literally zero reason to mention this again, but of course she did. Is it just me, or is this starting to feel passive-aggressive? And in that same episode, Meri casually mentions how Janelle and Christine placed her on Robyn and Kody's team after they shut her out, leaving her to fend for herself. It's kind of interesting and producer-driven, if you ask me, how that all came up. Honestly, Christine and Janelle love to throw Meri on Kody and Robyn's team, but let's be real, where else was she supposed to go? Janelle and Christine iced her out, and she still cared about her relationship with Robyn's kids. The whole situation feels a bit childish, almost like mean girl behavior, don't you think? I get that Meri and Christine had a nasty falling out over the divorce. I totally understand both sides. Meri felt betrayed when Christine left after dragging her to Flagstaff under false pretenses, and Christine has resentment for Meri siding with Kody in the aftermath. It's a shame they can't just view their relationships as pre-divorce and post-divorce. Their relationships were so toxic because of the polygamy they were forced into. But it's probably just a way for them to cope. Let's not forget they weren't always besties. Vegas made it easier to pick sides, and Flagstaff kind of made it permanent, but I bet there are still things they don't like about each other. Honestly, they probably wouldn't have chosen each other if it weren't for Kody, but they both did, and they're both hurt because of their relationship with him. It's what I'd call a trauma bond. That said, I'm fine with Christine liking Janelle. What I don't get is why they can't bring Meri back into the fold. She's paid the price for sticking by Kody after all. Really? Another dig at Meri? I was actually hopeful for a moment. Janelle and Meri had a decent interaction. where they both acknowledged that they're not best friends, but at least getting along. Progress, right? Then, just a scene later, Janelle walks into Christine's Airbnb and has to make a big deal about how different things are now. Apparently, they used to be able to just stroll into each other's homes, like Meri's or Robyn's, no knocking necessary. But now, a knock before entering is somehow a problem. Seriously. Look, I get it. Asking for privacy isn't a crime. Personally, I don't think it's too much to ask for someone to knock before barging in. If I'm walking around in my birthday suit, I sure don't want someone popping in unannounced. And let's not pretend like these complaints about Meri's requests, some of them dating back decades, still have any real merit. But it's funny, isn't it? Janelle makes this snide comment as if she's taking the moral high ground when she knows full well that privacy, something Meri is being vilified for asking for, isn't something anyone should be throwing shade over. Especially when we're talking about someone like Christine, who had a massive meltdown about Kody's one-home idea, insisting she needed her kingdom and privacy. Talk about hypocrisy. And then the cherry on top, Christine's little jab about how her family, along with Janelle's and David's, will be together, while poor Meri is left to wonder what her plans will be. How gross is that? I know the whole polygamous setup leaves women in a tough spot, but come on, Meri has been nothing but a punching bag for these people, and Christine's comment, just vile. It's almost like they forget they're already very committed to airing their personal drama on national television, all for a storyline. And yet they keep acting like the bigger person while throwing these little digs. Kody's dilemma over whether to sell Coyote Pass is truly a masterpiece of confusion. The guy spent what felt like an eternity waxing poetic about the great times he had there with Robyn and the tender 20-year-olds. Sure, let's all cry a little for that picnic with the prairie dogs. Apparently, those sweet memories are the stuff of legend. But let's break this down for a second, shall we? The man sold a $1 million home and turned around and bought a $2 million one. So hey, if he wants to keep having those amazing moments with his favorite brood, maybe he could just do that in his fancy new house. You know, the one overlooking the same prairie dog-infested dirt patch? Does this guy really think we're all buying the nostalgia act when he's sitting in a mansion, while 75% of his biological children and 3 ex-wives are scrambling to make ends meet? And the hand-wringing. Seriously, Kody and Robyn, make up your minds. Keep the property, keep part of it, sell it, whatever. Just please do yourselves a favor and buy Meri and Janelle out so they can go live their lives. That's the least you could do. Oh, and here's some free legal advice for you. You can't keep all the property and everyone's money. Trust me, it's not gonna end well. As for their new 7-bedroom house, I mean, is there a reason behind this upgrade? Or are they just planning to stockpile rooms for the girls, their future husbands, a few stray HOA meetings, and an army of grandbabies? Most people downsize, save money, and, live within their means, but not Kody. Nope, he's got kids scattered across the country and is apparently expecting them to make pilgrimages to him. Newsflash, buddy, they're busy with their own lives. If you want to see them, you might want to go to them. I mean, honestly, if Kody can't grasp that, then maybe he needs a tour guide for his own life. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.